Ni hao, everyone, and welcome back to Indian Racing League. We are in the circuit of Americas in Austin, Texas, and this is round 13 of 18 for the Division 1 drivers on Saturdays, as always. And joining me in the comms box was supposed to be Suraj, but he has had some kind of work emergency, which is also the reason why uh, I believe people should not achieve a lot in their careers, because if you do, you might be needed on weekends. But either ways, it's just me right now, and hopefully, Shooter will join us midway through this session, or maybe in the sprint race. But yes, it is a sprint race. This is a this is, I think, the third of the four sprint weekends we have on the calendar. We still have one more sprint race coming up, I believe, in Brazil, which is one round or two rounds after this. We have Austria in between. So should be an interesting weekend as I see Vyom sliding through the final corner to start his first qualifying lap. So 14 people in. We still have PSI Legends and Quick Killer yet to join. So let's hope that they can make their way pretty soon to the lobby, and when then we'll have a respectable total of 16 drivers gracing this circuit, which, by the way, it's not a personal favorite at all. I hate this circuit with all my heart, and I hope that somewhere there are a few changes that it makes it better to race on. But plenty of conversation going on in the comments, as Sharath is saying Redstone Dubs, Caesar, and Jishnu for the top three. Sharath, I keep forgetting you are Domithor, correct? Let's just please uh, clarify that for us. But Sharath, is that prediction for the race, or is that for qualifying? As Basil says, he's on holiday. So that's one way, ladies and gentlemen, to deal with a season ban. You get banned, you go on a holiday, you enjoy yourself, you come back and not change one bit. So that's exactly what Basil is doing. If sources are to be believed, he's on his way to Croatia. So, we are almost losing his car there, but Croatia, that's interesting. I've heard it's pretty expensive there. So, Baz, you seem to be raking in a lot of money to be able to afford a holiday in Croatia. So, if you do have some spare change, maybe you can send some my way, and I can finally buy the Spider-Man 2 game. Spectating Sid Venkatesh, who has been out of action for a week at least, maybe more. So, as Caesar, that's a good comment. I'll admit that's a good comment, although not in favor of me, but that's one of the better uh, kind of funny comment from Caesar, and he's learning. He's definitely learning. As VFix goes fastest with a 132.1, currently spectating Sid Venkatesh, who's here after a week's absence. And let's see where he puts his Red Bull. He goes P4, the 134.6. Pretty sure that's going to be an improvement on that. Let's follow Redstone, who's still in the pits. I think he did come out, but aborted his attempt and now is back in the pits. So, not sure. By the way, I'm still running a cold, people. So, if you do hear some coughing, or if my voice sounds weird, that's just me not being well or 100%. So please bear with that. Abhishek is missing as well. He's traveling, and hopefully he'll be back in a couple of weeks. Smith is on a lap, and our Division 2 champion from last season in his very familiar Alfa Romeo, constructors as well as drivers championship titles with that car, and he puts himself in P6. Definitely a lot of improvements coming his way. But talking about the championship standings, we have Hushrav, who's leading the way with 156 points, closely followed by Redstone and VFix with 149 and 147. So it's only 9 points that separate the top three, and then Caesar is a further 20 points away, 29 if you look at the gap from the leader. So this is a good championship fight, and as we are in the kind of the final third of the season, it's hotting up and should be a good finish, a strong finish, a juicy finish to the season. Currently spectating Redstone, and once he's about to start his lap, we'll go on board with him and kind of turn off other distractions and see what he does and how he takes these tricky corners of this circuit in COTA. And approaching the final corner now, there's a car ahead which might have just finished their lap, and even if they haven't, if they're on a hot lap, it should be fine. Redstone Dub is on his way, he's approaching turn 1. The uphill nature of the track does help the braking, so you can brake a little bit later than you usually do in terms of braking distance, and then nicely managed through the traction zone. It's easy to lose your car here, but flat out through the first part of the axis there, downshifts. Oh, he doesn't downshift. I thought he would to the 6th gear, but he doesn't. Keeps it in the 6th and then the 5th gear. Then the uphill right-hander has to be very cautious on the traction, and he does that. Is a fastest sector 1 if the game is to be believed. Another hairpin coming up there. We have a few of those on this track. Downshifts to the 2nd gear and then upshifts to the 3rd and the 4th, quickly running through the gears, keeps his car to the right of the track. And now this is the part of the track where you will see a lot of overtaking in the sprint race as well as the main race. Breaks just after the 100-meter board, is able to cut quite a few inches of that curve. Could have probably gotten away with cutting it even more, but again has to be careful on the throttle. Easy to lose the car there. It's a tricky left-hander coming up and navigates it well. Little bit of wheel spin on the exit, but that's probably okay. I don't really think he lost much time there. Now through the triple right-hander completely flat out before he goes down 2 gears to the 5th and navigates that well. Plenty of room given to the track on his left, and now across the line he comes. It is a 132.6, a full 5/10 off of VFX cutter. So that's not expected of Redstone, and if telemetry is to be believed, he's quickly running out of fuel, so I don't think he has fueled up for one more run. Maybe this was a banker, he just wanted to get that in and still has more in store. So we'll come back and look at his progress towards the end of the session. Currently with Caesar right now, as Azun says that there's going to be rain in the race. Is that the main race, Azun, or is that the sprint race which you are referring to? I hope it's a sprint race, because if it's the main race and if it's throughout the entire session, then that does usually signify a boring race. But let's hope that the Division 1 drivers will not do that, as Caesar goes P4, the 132.8, just ahead of Vyom, who's in P5. Let's figure out where not Sumer is. Sumer is in the first sector, and he has put a fastest sector 1. There's a Ferrari ahead of him, and let's see what Sumer is. The Ferrari does get out of the way, and Sumer through the hairpin now. Keeps it in the 3rd gear, does not go down to the 2nd, and gets a good launch out of that exit and on the back straight now. Approaching the heavy braking zone into turn 10 for Sumer. Still keeps in the 3rd gear, so he does not. Oh, there's a little bit of wheel spin on the exit, or maybe that was just the yeah, I don't know, Baz. I don't know if it is bullying or it's just to trying to assert his dominance, but repeatedly failing to do so on Srikanth. As now through the final couple of corners goes the Haas of Sumer, and he goes P2, the 32.4. So that lap time from VFX, and Hushrav goes P2 now, displacing Sumer to P3. It's very close between Hushrav and Sumer, and the gap which VFX has over the rest of the field kind of leads me to believe that maybe he's running a different setup than others around him, and maybe he has not taken the rain in the main race into account. It's all speculation at this point. I remember France earlier in the season where VFX did that, and that was a calculated decision to kind of run a dry setup. And Azun is saying that he was capping about the rain. So, well, thank you, Azun, for that. Thank you for your contribution. As always, not helpful. Let me know, Raman, if this is fine, because Smith has retired from the session. That's not in the pits. But Raman, when I'm on board with people, you will hear the engine sounds a lot louder than when I'm off board. So if this is fine, then let me know. Otherwise, I'll try to increase the game sound a little bit, and you'll be able to hear the engines more than my annoying and phlegm-filled voice. It's Blood Wave. In his Alpha Tower, it's a Blood Wave was driving for Williams earlier in the season. Now VFX has Quick Killer for a teammate, but in his reserve capacity is Blood Wave now, and they were doing good, both the Williams boys, and it felt like they were in the hunt for the Constructors' Championship. Blood Wave, I remember winning, I think it was Belgium. So let's see, as Abhishek says, the Blood Wave is quick around here, so we'll see in just a few seconds how quick Blood Wave is, and can he actually topple the top 2 or top 3 here. Takes a bit of curve more than required as he goes P6 behind Redstone Dub, as just now has popped up into P4. So as we do that, let me quickly change the audio a little bit. Let me know if this is fine, Raman, because you guys would know better while watching the stream than me. But when I'm off board, of course, you will not hear the engine sound as louder, and that's just how the game is. Can't really do anything about it. As Asun says, it's too loud. Asun, I'm not really gonna take anything which you write seriously, so I'll just depend on Ramen from now on, as Vicky says it's too loud as well. So yeah, maybe Azul is right, and I hate when that happens. PSI Legends is down on his time and has invalidated this attempt. So let me kind of do this again and put a 6. Is this fine? Well, the Alpine does sound terrible around here, as Redstone Dub restores normalcy with a 32-0. And that's more like it from Redstone. Vyom is on an outlap. He's gone earlier than everyone else. So it's a bit out of sync, Vyom. And I hope he doesn't encounter a lot of cars who are on their outlaps when he actually is on a timed run himself. But let's see where he puts his car. He's in P8 right now, just ahead of Yash Gosalia and just behind Caesar. So let's see what he does on this final run for him, and I don't think he'll encounter a lot of cars. They are yet to come out of the pits. And Srikant is asking if Vyom is in Stroll's car. I don't know how to determine that, Srikant, so if you can help me make some kind of sense into it. Maybe it's the TV pod. There's a yellow kind of strip just on the camera there. I don't know if... Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Srikant. So either way, so Vyom is on his way and he has invalidated this attempt, so that's not gonna count. Hushrav has just started his lap, and let's see what he does on his first sector timings. He is 4/10 off Redstone Dub, and being the championship leader, Hushrav would want to stay as close as he can to the chasing pack, He's down on his time. Redstone Duff has retired in the pit, so that is his quali done, and that's his best time. We don't have anyone in the 131s, and maybe we won't, going by the looks of it. Hushlav is down on his time. VFX still on his out lap, and yeah, that's not much to see here. Hushlav is on the back straight. I think he's getting a toe from his teammate Yash Kosalia, who should move out of the way anytime now. Well, that's a little late, maybe. I don't know. That seemed a little bit awkward, but it has helped Hushlav a little bit. He's up on his time, only slightly so, and he needs a mega third sector to put his car on the front row. But as it stands, VFix's P2 is secure, but believe you me, he would be going for that pole position. Now Hushlav, through the final couple of corners, is throwing his car around, and he seems controlled in the way he's taking those final corners, and off he goes onto the main straight. He goes P3. I mean, he was P3. He's improved his time slightly, but not his position. What about VFix? He has a healthy gap in front of him, so he should not be really catching anyone. And let's see if this is going to be an improvement in sector 1. In fact, he's down by 3/10. So I don't think that is going anywhere from VFX, and I think that is his quali done. Caesar is on an out lap, and is just gonna start his lap now. So he's started his lap with just 8 seconds to spare, and Bloodwave has started with just 2 seconds to spare. Something which Jin did with just 1 second to spare last night. Ethan, by the way, that's a mega improvement by almost 5/10. So he should be gaining a few positions here. Yes, he does. He jumps from P10 to P5. And Abhishek, yes, we'll do that. We'll watch out for Bloodwave's lap. Let's see where he puts. He's down on his time. He's not improving in the first sector, down by 400ths of a second. What about Sumer? Sumer is improving, but only slightly so. I don't think there's going to be an improvement in position. No, it is not. What about Jishnu? Is up on his time. Jishnu goes P3. What about VFix? VFix has invalidated, in fact. So that's his quali done. Bloodwave now. Is there anything he can do? What about Caesar? Well, Caesar is ahead of Bloodwave on the track, so we'll continue with Caesar here. And let's see. I see a Sid Venkatesh first, who will finish the lap time. There's a McLaren of Jin, I think, who finished P11. But now Sid Venkatesh, across the finish line he goes. Can he pop into top 10? No, he does not. Stays in P15. Caesar is just about matching his own time, so this might not be an improvement for the Red Bull driver. And across he goes. He's P9. What about Bloodwave? He's in the pits and has... Wow, that's basically, he did a shadow sword there. Rammed into the pit wall. I think that was out of frustration. So it is Redstone up getting a pole position once again, and followed by VFX and Jishnu and Hushlav on the second row. And then there comes Sumer Yash Kosalia with a good qualifying 4/10 of Redstone, but that's a promising pace from the Ferrari in P6. P7 is Ethan and Bloodwave, and then the fifth row of the grid is Caesar and Vyom. We have then Jin, Chips, PSI Legend, Sid Venkatesh, Smith, who put in some lap times which were quite a few way off, and then Quick Killer without setting a lap time. But the top 10 within 8/10 of each other on this track, so maybe that's good news for people who have joined the stream and want to see some fireworks in the sprint and the race. So Azuna, of course, with absolutely garbage predictions, and I hope that that doesn't happen. But yes, Abhishek, we did watch out for Blood, but well, he didn't really do us any favors. He rammed into the pit wall there. Right, so it seems that it's going to be a dry sprint race, and I hope that that's the case for the main race as well. And I hope Shooter makes his way into the party chat now. Let me just quickly check with him. where he is. Uh, oh, is formation lap off? I hope it is off, because there is some kind of a glitch where if you keep the formation lap on, then well, your lobby is screwed. So while the drivers are preparing the final strategies, yes, we do have the formation lap off, and it's loud out, and we're underway. It's a good start from Redstone. Husrev has got a good start as well, but is VFix is gonna go for the move on the inside of Redstone? Yes, he is. VFix does take the lead of the race. Redstone will come back at him, and Redstone might just get that position back. We're on board with Husrev here. Oh, there is some contact! There is some contact, and VFX has lost out a position there, and he might lose a further one to Husrev, who's fighting him like anything. And then further behind, I think that is Sumer, who's topped onto P3. VFX down into P5, and we all see medium tires here. They're still going to be battling around here, and I hope there is no one going for a dive bomb. There is someone who was trying that. I think that was Caesar, but I think that was controlled. And further behind, there's a lot of vying for position, but right now it is Bloodwave who's on the back and alongside VFX now, and ahead there is a move going on between Ethan and Jishnu. And what about Caesar? Has he just got down the inside of everyone there? I think he's just about still trying this willy banging between Caesar and VFX. VFX, what a eventful first lap he has had, from P2 down to P8. He might lose another position to Vyom. No, he's just about hangs on to that one. So P8 for VFX. Up ahead, Redstone Dub. What a start from him. There was some contact between him and VFX, but now he's leading by 6 tenths over Husrev by the end of lap 1. And let's see what Bloodwave can do on Jishnu here. Everyone seems to be on the softs, on the mediums rather. And let me just quickly open the tire graphic, and yes, it is the mediums, everyone except for Quick Killer, as Bloodwave tries to go round the outside. Jishnu defends well and keeps position for a few more corners. Further behind, Jin has had a moment and also lost a position to PSI, Sid, Venkatesh and Quick Killer, and is relegated to P15. What about Bloodwave now? He really seems to be out for blood, no pun intended, and he's on the back of Jishnu. Oh, Vyom has had a moment. Vyom down to P15. So something has happened with Vyom as well. And look at the gap up front. 8 tenths for Redstone Dub. So something's definitely going on there, as Yash Kosala goes off the track as he loses the position to PSI Legends. And now Chips and Sid Venkatesh both get past him as Bloodwave and Jishnu go side by side. This is going to be tricky, and let's ride on board with Caesar to see if Bloodwave can actually make his way past. No, he does not, unless he goes for a dive bomb here, which he tries to go side by side with the Aston Martin, as Caesar defends from VFX and Jishnu lives to fight another day. But the top 3 have kind of sped away. There's a yellow flag. It's Smith who's lost his car. I'm not sure if he made contact with anyone or he just spun on his own. But it's Husrev who's hot on heels of Redstone Dub. And as I was saying, the top 3 have kind of sped away, and Ethan is now a little detached, as Vyom has retired from the session, and that seems to be in the pits, but the comments of, oh yeah, it is in the pits for Vyom. Right, so well, that was very uneventful, as VFix tries to go around the outside of Caesar. He makes him a little vulnerable there, and now Caesar is under attack from VFX. Let's see if he can actually make a move. No, I don't think he will, but someone who's about to make a move might be Husrev, 6 tenths behind Redstone. I don't know if he has enough top line speed and the will to use the battery to get in front. I don't think he will do that, and yes, he does stay behind Husrev. As Bloodwave tries to go around the outside of Jishnu, these two have been battling for a couple of laps now. It's practically since the start of the race, and Bloodwave this time finally seems to be just about ahead, but just we have the inside line, and Bloodwave has the inside line for the next triple right-hander. I can feel that there's an incident brewing here, and let's see if Bloodwave can actually make his way past. Yes, he does, and that's the incident I was talking about. And VFX gets past Caesar and all that, who had to take avoiding action. And Wicked Vicky, I told you, well, you did say beautiful racing, but yeah, that was bound to happen. Jishnu losing a position to Bloodwave and Caesar losing a position to VFX in the process. VFX has tried to go around the outside now for Jishnu and has to stay back this time around. By the way, up ahead, the gap just 4/10. So we'll keep an eye out on Hushrav and Redstone up on the back straight rather, and see what happens between them. But Jishnu is defending for his life here, and I don't think he can keep that P6 very secure, considering he does not have DRS on the back straight. So Redstone Dog seems to have really good straight line speed, and I don't think Hushrav is gonna challenge him going down into turn 10, but VFX has actually gotten past just too much before the braking zone. Here comes Caesar, and Caesar has gotten past him as well. Jishnu has absolutely zero pace down the straight. Is he running a completely different setup to everyone else, or there's just a lack of pace from the Aston Martin? Well, we wouldn't know until the end of the race and we speak with him. But Jishnu down into P8, and now it is going to be Chips who's going to hunt him down. But look at the gap of the top three, 3.2 seconds to URL Ethan and Bloodwave. It might take him a lap or two to catch up to him, but considering the pace he has shown so far, it won't be very difficult for him to get past the Alfa Romeo. And Srikanth too. Yeah, it was good racing, Abhishek, until they made contact. But it's always good racing until someone makes contact, isn't it? It's only when you make contact when that good racing goes out of the window. But Srikanth definitely D2. I mean, I'm not saying that because I drive in that division, but it's just a little bit cleaner and the drivers are a little bit patient, with a few exceptions like yourself. But otherwise, a relatively calmer, toxicity-free division, I would say, as Quick Killer gets a 3-second time penalty already. Let's look at him and Yash Gosalia, because it seems like Gosalia might be on a move here. Anywhere else, it might not be happening. Gosalia has to be a little bit careful on the brakes, as Jin is trying to go ahead of the Ferrari as well. But this time around, now Yash Gosalia should be easily, he should be soaring past the Williams, as Quick Killer makes it go to the left of the to the right of the track, and Gosalia is ahead. And well, VFX has got him past Bloodwave here. They're still battling for position, and in doing so, they're letting Ethan kind of have some breathing room. But I think VFX has the inside line, and let's see what happens. They are trying to go side by side. VFX has gotten ahead of Bloodwave, but down the main straight, Bloodwave will have DRS on the Williams. So I'm not sure if that was the smartest move by VFX. Both of them have lost time. Bloodwave might not go for a move right now, but on the back straight he will go for a move. So well, VFX has gotten ahead right now. I don't think if it really plays into his hands long term, as Jin has gotten past, or he was trying to get past Quick Killer, but Quick Killer says no, those soft tires would be feeling some tire wear now, and I think this might be the crossover point where the medium tires, the yellow marked medium tires, are faster than the red marked softs. Let's see what happens, as Sumer is now on the back of Hushrav. Hushrav has lost touch to Redstone Dub, and Sumer might be on a move. Hushrav still has DRS, but Sumer, is he going to go for a move? Oof, that was close. As now Bloodwave loses the position to Caesar, does he? I think he just might. He has the inside line for the next corner, but Caesar is well ahead. So Caesar puts himself up into P6. VFX within DRS. of Ethan, and Hushrav and Sumer both have lost DRS to Redstone. So right now, as it stands, it is Redstone's race to lose this one. He has gotten away from that 1 second window, and while Sumer and Hushrav would hope to work together with each other, but with just 3 laps to go after this one, I think it's better to just let Redstone do his own thing. Bloodwave has DRS on Caesar. Caesar has DRS himself on VFX, who has now properly caught up to Ethan. So the next time, in the next few seconds when VFX is on the back of Ethan, it should be an easy move for the Williams. He'll come back and he'll claw his way back to P4 VFX, but he could have gotten a P2, maybe even a race win in this sprint race. So, I'm sure there'll be some words said to each other after the race, but as it stands, first things first is for VFX to get past the Alfa Romeo, as behind Bloodwave makes another mistake and is gonna be falling prey to Jishnu. But look at the gap which VFX has to Ethan, just to be absolutely sure. Jishnu has gotten past Bloodwave, and behind I see Jin and Yash going side by side. It's a terrible angle which I have as Sid Venkatesh and Quick Killer going side by side. Sid Venkatesh, his red light is flashing, so that means he's running out of battery soon. I'm getting terrible camera angles here, but yes, it is a position gain for Jin and Sid Venkatesh each. As now VFX 4.2 seconds and 3 laps to go. I don't think VFX is gonna really catch Sumer, who's now once again on the heels of Hushrav. So on the back straight, if Sumer keeps this kind of gap to the Ferrari, he should be getting past with relative ease. But you never know, this is the high speed section of the track and you can lose some downforce while trying to follow another car. So you have to be careful not to do that or to get over eager on the throttle in some parts of this section, because you can then lose your car completely. But I think Sumer has managed it well. It's just 3/10 off of Hushrav, and here goes Sumer is not using his battery. He doesn't need to use his battery, and on lap 8 it is Sumer who comes ahead of that battle and is now into P2. But I hope he has thought about this strategically, because Hushrav will come back for the position. Bloodwave has gotten past Jishnu once again. So, well, both of them have lost DRS to Caesar, who is just about hanging on to the 1 second gap of Ethan. But as it stands, Bloodwave and Jishnu will just be exchanging positions until the end of the race. What happens now as Hushrav less than 4/10 behind Sumer, and you know what, I don't think Hushrav is gonna attack Sumer until he absolutely has to, and just cannot get away without overtaking Sumer, because he might be just thinking that I'll just overtake Sumer on the last lap. There's no point in overtaking a car right now only to be overtaken later, as something has happened. I'm not sure who. I think it is Smith who's lost his car again, but this is Jishnu getting past Bloodwave. These two exchanging positions lap after lap, and Sid Venkatesh once again trying to get past Quick Killer. So Quick Killer did get ahead of the Red Bull at some point in time, but now look at Quick Killer just so close to the rear end of Sid Venkatesh, whose red light is still flashing, as Shooter has finally joined us just in time for the end of the sprint race. And
Hi,
hopefully, hello Shooter, thank you for joining us. I hope you have selected spectate.
Yes, I did.
Alright, what a goat. So welcome to the Comsbox Shooter for the second weekend running, and really thankful because it was getting a bit boring doing commentary all by myself.
What did I miss till now?
Well, you missed some kind of an incident between Redstone and VFix on lap 1, which relegated VFix into P8, but he has clawed his way back into P4. But right now we're seeing the battle between
That's a nice recovery, yeah.
Yep, very good recovery from his. Oh my God, it's Sumer who gets a 3 second time penalty, so he'll lose the position to Hushraf. And if he's not careful, he'll lose the position to VFix as well. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Redstone, by the way, is just driving off in the sunset shooter, something which I think you have formed a habit of doing in Division 2.
And not as of now, in a couple of weeks.
I mean, yeah, yesterday was pretty unlucky for you, and we heard Chips shouting at the top of his voice at you. Let me just play that clip once again as welcome to you. And while we do that, Shooter, if you can take us through the battle between Caesar and Ethan for P5.
Yeah, so Caesar is he's clawing back, he's clawing back by I think tenth, I mean hundred of a seconds, but yeah, now they're coming to the DRS straight, so will Caesar be able to move? I think it will be pretty easy move if there's no commotions. I hope. So yeah, but Caesar is almost out of ARS, and so is Ethan. So is Ethan. Okay, he didn't make it. He just missed it by 3 tenths.
Yeah, and behind, by the way, Hushraf did get past Sumer, and behind them, Bloodwave has finally overtaken Jishnu.
Okay.
So Bloodwave will come out ahead of this battle, which was almost for half of the race. But what about this man? Redstone Dub dominating from start to finish. He's going to win the sprint race, and that's an advantage for him in the championship. As Redstone wins the sprint, Hushram will finish in P2. Sumer in P3. We fixed. That's a very good recovery from him in P4. Ethan was the bottleneck for a few drivers in P5. Caesar finishes just half a second behind him in P6. Blood finishes ahead of Jishnu, and then Chips, followed by Yash Gosala in the top 10. Well, Yash had a time parity of sorts. I'm not sure because it's Jin in the top 10 now.
Yeah.
Yash in P11, PSI P12. Sid Venkatesh, not the best of the races for him in P13. Quick Killer is doing some donuts towards the end in P14. It's just delaying the start of the main race. Smith in P15 had a terrible race, and then Vyom, of course, did not finish. He retired in the pits. But as we do that, here we go. Time for the audio clip, the goated audio clip from last night. Shooter, have you ever had anyone scream at you like that,
Nope.
where you get scarred for life, practically?
Nope. This was the first, hopefully the last. But I have to say, in this 10 lap of sprint, Redstone means, as you said, that he had some contact with Vifix in lap 1 or 2, and still managed to get a 4 second gap is quite impressive. And also expected, I guess.
Yeah, it's impressive and expected at the same time for for Redstone. But yeah, once the people behind him started battling, you knew he would run away with this one. And ultimately, the 3 second time penalty for Sumer did not really matter because he was overtaken by Hushraf on track, and then Sumer did not lose a position to VFix either. But VFix would be hoping that he does not get a repeat of lap 1 on the main race and has an incident free lap 1, and he can probably gain a position or two, but it's so closely matched between the top 4. Redstone, yes, obviously is driving on another level right now.
It might trigger Malav. So the result of sprint, right? It might trigger a lap 1 overtake or means unconventional moves on turn 1. Let's see.
Yeah, that's very likely. And Redstone, while he does get decent starts, but people behind him, so someone like a Hushrav or a VFX, even Caesar for that matter, who I think is in P6, usually gets very good starts. So this is a wide turn one. You can go side by side through there. 3 cars, 4 cars, you name it. So it should be an interesting turn one. And the people who are in the grandstands and overlooking turn one would have paid a very good amount for those tickets because it's gonna be very chaotic, especially lap one. Right, so here we go. No formation lap, and we are going to be underway very, very soon. It's lights out. We are underway. Caesar
Mythics get
does
a
get a
very bad
brilliant
start.
start, and VFix does get a bad start. But is Hushtav going to go down the inside of Redstone Top? Yes, he does. Sumer might just follow through. Hushtav does get the jump on Redstone, who might lose the position to Sumer here, but no, Redstone does keep is there, and Caesar, as predicted, has jumped a few positions from P6. He's up into P4. VFix has lost a position or two because from P4 is down into P6, further behind. It seems like it's fine. Jin has lost a position. We'll have a look at the tire choices now as VFix is in the hard. That explains the start he had, and now
Yeah.
it is going to be Bloodwave who's going to go down the inside of the Williams, and it's Bloodwave who has gotten past his ex-teammate. This is a terrible, terrible start for VFix. Is he gonna come back at him? No, he's not.
And meanwhile, Quick Killer is using the soft tires very nicely. He has gained 5 positions at the end of Sector 2.
5 positions gain for him. Ethan has been kind of pushed off the track there, and let's see what happens because Caesar and Ethan are fighting for it like anything. And oh, there's just too many cars in one, and when that happens, I always get nervous as a steward. But right now, oh, there's a yellow flag somewhere. Sid Venkatesh and PSI Legends have had an incident between them,
Yeah,
and
there was slight contact between V6 and Jishnu, and then Jishnu closing the door on Quick Killer. And I think Quick Killer got wing damage. He is going in the pits.
oh, there's Chips. What happened to Chips? Oh, yeah, because it's Quick Killer who has lost a few positions because of going in the pits. But Ethan is now coming back. Oh, Quick Killer is retired from the session, and there's contact between Caesar
Oh,
and
Vyom
Bloodwave.
just rear-ended Chips.
He would not have liked that one, Chips.
Yeah.
He's just had the misfortune, these two drivers, of just colliding with each other multiple times now. Chips down in P13, so there goes his strategy out of the window, considering he was on the softs. But Redstone Dub has stuck with Hushdub, and
I think
these
it's
three, they're just running away once again with
yeah,
this
these
race.
three. So once the DRS enabled, then only I think we can see some moves. But yeah, since this track is notorious for DRS strain, so we might not be sure.
Yep. As of course, people are now heading over to the stream of Chips because there might be some choice words he would have used for Fiume and Aston Martin, and I believe they would be more than just shoot her, more like shoot him. But here we go, blood on the back of Caesar, and Caesar has kind of lost touch as well. The top four are medium runners. Ethan trying his best to hang on, but I don't think he just has the pace, shooter, to
Yeah.
stick around with the top three.
And Jishnu is just teetering, like he's just trying to be in the DRS with VFX. So, yeah, there can be like an aggressive rundown for the SS for Jishnu. And in meanwhile, yeah, when there's nothing going on, like it's little spaced out, only 1 or 2 cars in every DRS zone.
Yeah, I think the
think-
battle for P5 is the closest one we have here, with Caesar defending from Bloodway, who has to
And
be careful
VFX.
about VFX once again. So these three drivers find themselves battling for position for the second or third time in the last 15 minutes. But yeah, VFX starts. Well, I understand he's on the hards, but then so was Caesar. But then VFX does need to work on them now. It's hurting his races, and the more time he spends behind these drivers, the lesser likely he is. As here goes Caesar down round the outside of. In fact, it was Bloodway who was making a move on
Yes,
the inside of
Bloodway
Caesar,
made a
and he
move.
has gotten past him. But yeah, coming back to VFix, it's just losing so much time behind these drivers and is not able to compete with the likes of Pusher of Redstone and Sumer.
No, it's smart for VFX to stay back because he knows that the car in front of him will always have a DRS advantage.
Yep, that's absolutely true.
Jin very close to Yash.
Jin is indeed close
Oh,
to
Yash
Yash.
goes little wide.
Yash, and he gets a 3 seconds straight away. Unless it was a third warning, but Redstone, by the way, has gotten past Khosrow and all that. So Redstone has made the move for the lead of the race, and VFix has gotten past Caesar, has he? Because this is going to be close between them as they enter the SS, and VFix has to stick
No,
behind.
yeah, Caesar holds the position.
Caesar does hold on to that position, but Redstone has made that move stick, and this time, let's see if Khusrav and Sumer can kind of tackle this a bit more patiently, because if they let Redstone run away once again with this one, then there's just no catching him. But right now, as it stands, Khusrav is within touching distance of the Mercedes. I don't think he's close enough to make a move, shooter.
I agree, Marik. Yeah.
Right, he had to brake very hard there, Sumer, just to avoid. Oh, he's just still managing to turn into the back, run into the back of.
And there you go.
Khusrav there.
Jin made a corner. Jin made a move on Yash.
Yes, Jin has finally made a move, just trying to hang it round the outside of the McLaren. But I think Jin might just about have it. No, he does not. He's now has the outside line for the next one, and we'll have the inside line for the.
Jin got very good traction from that corner.
Yep, very good traction indeed from Jin.
And VFix is closer to Caesar as of now, just almost less than a 2/10 it was before the turn. But there you go. Yeah, there's no move coming as of now.
Yeah, but in fact, it is Caesar who's going to go for a move on Blood Wave, and this is what I'm talking about. As the two make contact, and VFix might take an advantage of that. He does get past Blood Wave, so Blood Wave does lose 2 positions in the space of one corner.
Now he is under threat from Jishnu as well.
He is under threat from Jishnu, Blood, and all these drivers in the midfield are on those hard tires, so they're looking to go long and maybe put on a set of softs toward the end of the race unless there is an untimely safety car. And VFix has to get past Caesar now in the next time of asking, so that's the opportunity right now as we see the cars going downhill on the back straight, and should be a fairly straightforward move for the Williams.
True.
As he pulls out from the slipstream of the Red Bull, and then on the racing line, is Bloodwave going to go for a move? Yes, he does. He does try to take that opportunity, but Caesar is smart enough to defend his P6. He lost a position, but he ensured he doesn't lose another one to go along with it. And well, now let's see if Caesar can hang on to the back of VFX, and let's see if VFX can slowly try to catch up to Ethan.
Ethan, because Ethan is chilling there. He's 3 seconds behind the car in front and 2 seconds ahead of the car behind.
Yeah, it's just replay of last race, where Ethan was just kind of in a no man's land. VFX had to spend some time battling and getting through other cars. Now he has done that, and you can see immediately it's just clawed back 2/10s. The mediums should still theoretically be the faster tire, but as it stands, the VFX seems to have a natural pace advantage, which will see him pull through towards Ethan with every passing lap. But let's see when that actually happens. Up ahead, Redstone, once he's gotten into the lead, I don't really want to hype him up, but he's just so consistent. Once he gets into the lead, he does not make a mistake. Despite people in his DRS, he's just so composed, and he does not need a second invitation to kind of control the race once he gets into P1.
And Vyom gets a 3-second penalty.
Yeah, Vyom getting a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help him. I wonder what happened to him at the start of the race.
No, he was on softs, I guess, and then he pitted.
Oh yes, he had a collision with Chips, and he had to pit for a set of hards. So
yes,
that's exactly
yes, there was a change of front wing.
Yep, there was a change of front wing and the tires, which is why he's languishing in P14. But that could change pretty soon, shooter, as we saw from the Division 2 race last night. Jin was the last of the running drivers and had to make 2 pit stops because the team did not change his wing on the first pit stop. But he still managed to end up on the podium because of a couple of safety cars. Now VFX has really wasted no time into getting to the back of Ethan. and I don't think he's gonna make a move into turn one, but on the back straight, a move is coming, and then once VFix is in true clean air, chips in the pits. So that's the end of the soft
Soft.
tire stint.
Yeah.
It's a little earlier than I thought it would be, but yeah, 6 laps is all they could offer to the Chips' car. But here we go. VFX on the back of
This charge of
Ethan.
VFX actually helped him to get into Ethan's DRS and kept Caesar out of his DRS. So Caesar is
Uh,
now under threat by Blood Wave.
yeah, Caesar has gotten out of that window, and Jishnu is very close to Blood. But first we go on board. I mean, we first see the battle
Jishnu
between.
going for the move? I
Yeah,
guess
Jishnu
no,
is going
but
on the move, but it is in fact Blood Wave who's trying to maintain the position on Caesar. He's gotten one past Caesar, and yes, he has, and in fact, VFix has gotten past Ethan as well, and we completely missed spectating the
and
battle
Jin and Yash
between.
Gosal are still going on that same sector.
Yep, that's exactly the battle I'm watching right now. But in all that, we missed Redstone getting a 3 second time penalty. So the race leader has made things a little bit interesting for himself by getting a 3 second time penalty, and that's not going to help. But now, after getting that time penalty, he started pushing. It seems like because he's about to drop VFX, about to drop Hushrav out of DRS.
He has to. He has to. Yeah, there's only way to create the gap is like come out of the DRS attack.
Spectating Jishnu right now, who's on the back of Caesar, who's of course well within DRS of Bloodwave. So these three are gonna battle it out for the next few laps. They are exactly on the same strategy, and once again they're helping Ethan stay where he is in P5.
Do you think
Please.
like VFX will be able to break the DRS trail behind him?
Well, it's a little difficult on this track to do that. I think he has to push a lot in the third sector if he wants to break that train. But
Maybe it's
first,
possible because
let's
yeah,
watch Jin, who might be on a charge and he might be able to get ahead of Yash Gosalia in the Ferrari. Yes, he does. Cuts across him on the track, and Yash trying to once again hang it
oh
around the outside, but good defense from Jin after taking the position.
yeah.
Hangs on to P9 for now, but these two are battling themselves so much they're losing more and more time to the likes of Jishnu, Caesar, and Bloodwave. And there you
True,
go,
true.
Redstone out of DRS. I mean, Hushrav out of DRS of Redstone, just about. Does he
No,
have?
not yet, not yet,
Not
not yet.
yet. I saw the gap going up to, more than a second just for a bit, but Hushrav doing just about enough to hang in there. But once again, you see that Redstone has at pace. He's probably driving at 90%, 95% right now. And if he has enough pace, as it seems like once again he's pushing, he can have that extra tenth or a couple of tenths every lap. Once again, look at the gap, more than a second, and if Hushrav is not careful, I
Yes,
think he has lost DRS now. So now
yes, he has lost.
we
He has
are
lost.
gonna enter the Redstone Dub domination part of the race until they decide to pit. He's gonna just
And
stretch his gap.
in meanwhile, Vishix has lost, I think, more than half a second to Sume.
Yeah, the gap was around 5 seconds. You're right. So, Sumer, as we speak, has probably gotten past. Yes, he has gotten past Hushrav. So, the first time Hushrav, maybe in a long, long time, did not have DRS. VFix has gotten past him, and Caesar has gotten past. Sorry, Sumer has gotten past Hushrav, but Caesar has overtaken Blood for P6. But I don't think these drivers seem to be so closely
There's
matched on
still the
pace.
battle is going between Jin and Yash for PP9 on the same section again.
Yeah, so this is again, once again, a set of drivers who are so closely matched on pace. Caesar, Bloodwave, Jishnu, and then here we have Gosalia and Jin. And then we also have Hushrav and Sumer.
And one more
It,
thing is like Chips when he pitted, he just came in front of Vyom, so they're also battling.
Yep, they are battling Chips and Vyom. And oh, Vyom was off the track just as I went on board with him. So,
He lost a lot of time there.
yeah, and he has tires. I mean, he has grass on his tires coming into the pits. And I wonder if he's gonna retire here. I hope he does
It was
not.
a sixth there.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
he
there you
did.
go. I think he's just frustrated at this point. Uh, but yeah, he did have a lot of unwanted grass on his tires. Jishnu now, oh Jin, and this is too many battles going on here. But Jishnu on the back of Blood, who has lost DRS to Caesar. So Jishnu might be very close to overtaking Blood, but at what cost? He's depleting his battery to no effect. But the Aston Martin, oh, there's just a little bit
Oh,
squeeze, which was a bit unnecessary.
yeah.
But Jishnu is. I think these drivers need to take some lessons from the Division 2 Aston Martin drivers, both of them. One is retired, the other is squeezing unnecessarily at another car. But VFix now look at the gap, 4.8 seconds. So it seems like
Yeah, now
now
he's
those
closing
hard
up.
tires are gaining some kind of an advantage over the medium runners. When do you think the medium runners are gonna pit? We have only four of those right now. What time? What lap do you think they will think about pitting? Shooter.
See, generally the game window is from lap 13 to 18. But yeah, they can extend it. They can extend to 19 also. But the tires will be really dead and it will start overheating.
So, do
So
you
if they
think
are
someone is
changing,
going to go for a mediums to softs, or it's better to just opt for a safer strategy and go for a mediums to hards?
no, it should be always safer strategy because you never know when the safety car is going to come out.
Yep, that is true, and I think that's probably what our drivers who are at least on the mediums thinking as well. VFix could think about a mediums to hards, but again he'll be losing too much time. As here goes Hushrav now, he pulls out of the slipstream of Sumer and does take the position away from him. So it is Hushrav into P2, Sumer relegated to P3, and both of them once again losing time to Redstone, who has a 2.5 second advantage now, as Jishnu and Bloodwave are trying to go at it once again, and there's almost wheel banging going on. But Bloodwave does take the position back, and we have seen it time and again. Drivers battling each other, losing so much time to others around them, which is why they have both
It's
lost
this
out
section
on
is
the
very
race.
hard, Mala, very hard to get the traction. So if you make a slight error, also you will lose the traction, especially
Yeah.
after DRS.
By the way, Khusrav has decided to go into the pits, so he is going on to the hards very early, and I'm not sure if Somer expected that. Ethan is in the pits as well. So the medium runners have started about pitting here, and here goes Bloodwave and Jishnu once again. Bloodwave, that was, oh, Jishnu almost losing his car there, and Bloodwave now waiting to give the position back. That is good sportsmanship between the two of them. There's a yellow flag. There's a safety car.
Oh my God,
Well, one
that
has to
was the
feel for Hushrav. That is so unfortunate. He pitted, and now he has a safety car to contend with, and Sumer will
both
easily.
Hushrav and Ethan, both
Yeah,
of them
Hushrav and
pitted at the
Ethan
same.
both. But what about the hard runners? You cannot pit from here and go on to the mediums and safely end the race on the tires, can you?
I don't think so. Means yeah, means obviously the medium runners should pit now, and
Yeah, medium
hard
runners
runners.
will pit, but the hard runners is.
What they can do, Mala, is like one more option is like they can just go long and go for softs.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone would be thinking. Redstone has a 3 second time penalty, and now he's definitely gonna pit for a set of hard tires. That
True.
would take him to the end of the race, but this 3 second now, because of the safety car, could prove to be costly and detrimental to his chances of winning the race. He's gonna pull into the pits. Yes, he is. Somer as well. Let's see what VFix does. Assume he'll be staying out. No, in fact, so VFix is coming in as well. Redstone gets a 5 second for speeding in the pit lane. and everyone has gone to pit here. So, well, no one seems to be staying out. Oh, Blood is staying out. Blood is staying out. But everyone else on the hards is coming in. So VFix has gone onto the mediums. I really don't know if those those will last. It's gonna be close between him and Hushrav. But Hushrav just about takes that position, does he? Yes, he does. He had to go at full speed on the main straight to do that. But Hushrav is ahead of VFX. But assuming the safety car comes in at the end of lap 14, that's 14 lap on mediums on lighter fuel. I'm trying to make sense of the decision as VFX is so close to Hushov. What are they doing here? Shooter, are you watching this? Because it seems like they are just
Yeah, I am watching this.
hellbound on colliding with each other under the safety car, especially VFX, who seems to be unusually impatient there.
Do you think VFX's medium will last?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. He has to be very, very kind on his
Jishnu
tires.
almost coming to the. He was riding the engine of Ethan there at the corner. And I think you know what happened with Redstone. He was too eager to go into the pits and gain as much as time to push Rav, but in that he just, I think by a kilometer or two, he overspeed. I saw him.
That is unfortunate. He has an 8-second time penalty now, and that is going to hurt. That's going to hurt big time. And you know, considering his pace, he might still end up getting a podium here, but a race wins unless people around him or behind him rather do very stupid things. If Division One allows Redstone to win the race from this position with this amount of penalties, then well, shame on them.
I have a question for you, Mala. Are you getting any migrating host messages?
Uh, well, I haven't been looking very carefully. I was texting someone on the phone as someone goes in the pits. It's VFix. No, it's Blood Wave now in the pits. Blood, why would you pit now? And Chips in the. Oh, Blood is retiring. Okay. Why is Blood retiring? And Gosala in the pits as well. Chips in the pits. I'm not sure why people are pitting on the second lap under the safety car. But no, Shooter, I don't think. I mean, I certainly didn't notice any migrating host messages on my screen, and I hope that the lobby is still intact and we don't need to do any kind of
No,
restarts.
I think it's just Cody's game because I am getting migrating host every time, but I am in the game. Nobody's ghosted for me.
Right, Abhishek is trying his level best here to Panoti VFX. I don't know why, what he has against VFX, but yeah, Srikant, that's probably a freshest tire possible, but they have lost a few positions in that. And I certainly don't understand Bloodwave's DNF. Maybe he had to go in emergency or something. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that can be. The only thing is like, see what is happening. The top three of Division One, right? They are very close to each other. It's like 7 points and 9 points difference. So it's all to play for between Hushrav, Redstone, and VFX.
Yeah, that's true. And Abhishek's still trying to Panoti VFX. I think if VFX doesn't win this one, I think is gonna have a very strong and serious conversation with Abhishek. The safety car should be in at the end of this lap. We are nearing the second sector split, which is usually when, yeah, there you go, the message from race control. And well, let's see predictions in the chat, people. Who do you think is gonna win this one? Except Abhishek. Except Abhishek. I really don't want to see one more comment predicting VFX is gonna win, and that too with such confidence. But yes, Abhishek, I'll do that if VFX actually does end up taking the race win. But Sumer is the prediction from Srikant, and then soon, of course, with Ethan. It's prediction. But here we go. I am on board with Hushrav, and let's see when Redstone actually decides to go. It's gonna be. Oh, it's gone. Redstone has gone,
That's a
and
neat start.
yeah, that is a good restart from Redstone. I don't think people expected him to go that early, but it's all legal, and Redstone is on his way with 8 seconds of time penalties and very quick drivers behind him. Let's see what happens as Yash Kosal and Sid Venkatesh exchange positions there before they reach turn 1. I'm not sure what happened there. But here we go now, on board with VFX, and let's see the kind of gains he makes on Husav. Look at that medium tire. Is using it to good effect is VFX, but he has to make use of it early on because that's where the advantage is. If he waits for 4-5 laps, then that advantage diminishes very quickly. So for VFX's
Yeah.
sake and for
He has to do
Abhishek's
it. He
sake,
has to do it right now. He has to go to P2 and maybe try to overtake Redstone, who has cleared himself from
but
DRS.
here goes Hushrav. He has plans to take away P2 from Sumer. And Hushrav will dive down the inside of Sumer. Sumer trying to hang it around the outside. Hushrav takes the position away from the Hearts driver. That's a good move from Hushrav without the help of DRS. Got a good launch out of that hairpin. And then, of course, used his battery a little bit. Redstone once again kind of running with this one. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between Ethan and Jishnu there. They're still going side by side through the triple right-handers. And I think Ethan just about ahead, but there's still more contact between the pair of
Yeah.
them. And
Squeezing is going on. Even Jishnu is trying to get most of those tires.
yeah,
And Jin
Jishnu-
getting 3-second penalty, that's unusual.
Yeah, Jin getting a 3-second time penalties. By the way, it is VFX who has just gotten past Sumer, has he? Yes, he seems to have done just about that.
He will
and-
have that grip advantage over.
Yeah, and look
Sumer.
at Caesar behind. Caesar is on the mediums as well. And Caesar, can he get past VFX?
Oh, there was slight contact, but it was clean. Most of it
It
was
was
clean.
just about clean between them. Thankfully, no one reduced to tears. But now, the DRS has not been enabled, so VFX has to wait for some time. But he should be getting past Pushraf with ease.
Yeah, that's no big. Yeah.
Jin on the medium tires on the back of Ethan here. Jin will get a good purchase.
Ethan has
Out.
already lost the DRS advantage and he is now in by.
Yeah, but
and
here goes
threat
PSI
from
Legends.
Jin.
Look at PSI. What a launch out of that exit. And PSI might just get that position from Jin. Does he? Yes, he does.
Yeah, he gets.
But in the
Yeah.
process, gets a 3-second time penalty. So he gets just a position, but at what cost?
I have a question, my love. So when you exceed the track limit and get an overtake done, do game tell you to give the position back?
Well, if the game is coded properly, you should be getting a warning.
He should have given the back.
Well, the thing is,
regardless,
the game should be giving that message to give the position back, and ideally, of course, you should get a 5-second penalty if you don't return the position.
Yeah.
But it's Codemasters we're talking about, so to expect that consistently from the game is a bit too much. Here goes PSI, by the way, very close on Ethan.
This
But again,
battle for
DRS
P2 is heating up now. It's like between 5 cars actually.
Yeah, so Hushrav has to be careful here. He might just let VFix go right now, and
Yeah, because
has
he's
to
on
ensure,
RTS.
and has to ensure that he does not lose any more positions to the likes of Caesar behind. But on this particular occasion, he might just have to wait and stick around in VFix's DRS if he can do that. But right now, on board with VFX, he's using his battery, and well, it's going to be an easy pass. But can Caesar get through as well? He's trying to go between the two cars, and it's going to be very close as Hushrav tries to hang it around the outside. Caesar seems to be just about ahead, and yes, he is ahead. Caesar, very opportunistic move there, and that's a good move that puts him in a good position for the podium here. Very good move from Caesar, and Hushrav would be
Losing 2 places in one go.
2 places there. He would have hoped to lose just one, but just didn't account for Caesar steaming through the middle.
And you know
And
what? If everything goes good with the medium runners, then Jishnu will be able to overtake Sume and he will start attacking Husha.
yeah, they should be attacking Hustrov, but I think Hustrov will be smarter now. Is very close to Caesar. I don't think he's gonna go for a move, but I don't think Hustrov, considered driver he is gonna lose any more positions here. And once you go through the first 4 or 5 laps, slowly the grip will come back to the hard runners like him, and I don't think the medium runners will have the advantage they have right now for a lot many more laps from now on. By the way, spectating Jin right now is trying to hang on. Oh, Ethan ahead of him losing his car multiple times in that one corner, and that should make it easy for Jin to get past Ethan here. But Jin
Yep.
himself is under attack from Yash Gosalia. So if Jin is not careful here comes Yash. And he's using his battery and he might just go for a double move as well. Here goes Yash down the inside.
And there he does.
And he does make a double overtake stick here.
And Jin
Jin
goes
is,
very well.
yeah, just Jin. I don't think he was pushed off the track. He just lost his breaking point, and Yash
Yash losing
Kusalia
it.
almost losing his car there. But I think he lives to fight another day. Now the gap between VFX and Redstone is 2 seconds, and that's not really coming down. So Redstone using his clean air to good effect. VFX knows Redstone has a lot of penalties, even if he tries to get some of those removed. Is gonna lose this race win, so it doesn't need to take any unnecessary risks. Here goes Jishnu, by the way, on the back of Sumer, and Jishnu has made the mistake. They're still going side by side through turn 2.
Oh, this doesn't look good. Okay, Jishnu makes the move here.
Yeah, Jishnu just about getting in front before the start of the SS section. So it's up into P5, but Sumer might be coming back at him on the back straight. But as I say that, VFX has, it looked like he clawed back a 10th or 2 on Redstone Derp, and Caesar is trying to fight very hard to be in DRS of VFX. And does Hustrav have DRS? Yes, just about. So Hustrav, very
Almost get it.
important for him to stick within DRS. If he doesn't do that, and here goes Sumer, by the way, just as the doctor ordered, Sumer goes deep. They're still going side by side, the Aston Martin and the Haas. And I hope there's no contact. Jishnu has had a few wheel-to-wheel racing incidents, but no incidents as such, but has had a good scrap of battles so far this weekend, and he continues that with another one with Not Sumer. But look at the gap. Hushrav and Caesar. It is so close. Hushrav, I'm sure, I don't want to show his onboard, but he must be depleting his battery just to stay within DRS.
He has to right now.
And that's the only option he has to have a fighting chance of saving his P4. Otherwise, he's going to lose that. In fact, he could be on the podium as well right now, considering Redstone has an 8-second time penalty. Hushrav is on course for a podium here as Ethan and Yash Kosalia exchanging positions. Yash Kosalia running into the back of Ethan, and I hope there is no damage on the Ferrari. But as it stands, it is Ethan in P8, Kosalia in P9, and then followed by Chips and Jin. Right, Hushrav, more than a second, and yeah, that's the end of his DRS streak. He will not get DRS.
Means he has to stay there. He has to stay there because mediums will start deteriorating in another 1 or 2 laps.
Yeah, I think that is gonna be the case as Caesar now getting quite close to VFX, and you can see Redstone gaining a few tenths on the rest of the pack in the last lap or 2. So
those Chips makes the move on Yash. Yash has lost a position. Oh no, they're still. Ethan, Chips is fighting. Oh, there was a rear tap from Ethan.
Yeah, so Chips made 2 moves there on Ethan and Yash, and is up into P8 right from P10. So that's a good move from him as Jin is trying to get past this. Oh, Jin almost losing his car. or was it just a glitch which I just saw there? But Jin getting a podium. Oh, Yash goes very wide there and has to concede a position to Jin. And then Smith, and Yash is probably coming into the pits. And oh, he's got a 5 second for. Yeah, he's gonna retire. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the end of
yeah.
Yash's race. Sumer less than 3 tenths behind Jishnu. So these two on different task strategies, different compounds, but seem to be so closely matched for pace. And as and when more laps go by, shooter, I think it is Sumer who will have an advantage with those hard
So,
tires. They're
मैं
more durable,
Husha,
but just as I say that, Sumer goes very wide and has lost DRS to Jishnu. Abhishek, I am showing gap by interval, or do you mean the leader? Because you want to see the effect of time penalty for Redstone Dub. So as it stands, at this rate, it will be P5 for Redstone, considering his 8 seconds of time penalties. But I don't think it's gonna stay there. I think Redstone will clear Jishnu at least.
he'll
So
start clearing in at least last 5 laps, right? The hard runners will have major advantage.
yeah, so I think Redstone should be on course to finish P4.
He
Can he
should
get
wish for no.
P3? Yeah, if he can gain another 2.5 seconds, then P3 is definitely on the cards for the Mercedes driver. And I think it's in his best interest to do that because the man he's staging in the championship is Hushrav, and the gap between the two of them is 7 points before the start of the weekend. So if Redstone can get a few points ahead of Hushrav, and then he obviously won the sprint, so that would help him in the championship. So let's wait and watch. The gap is more than 8 seconds now to Jishnu, so Redstone will
Inherit the P5.
should get P4. In fact, not even P5. But what he would be hoping for right now is no safety cars. If there's a safety car
Yes.
right now,
It's
or
both the
any
penalties.
point,
5 second, 3 seconds will really hurt
yeah,
him.
that would really hurt him. And at that point, I think he might just pit for a fresh set of softs, remove that 5 second time penalty, and just
And
uh,
salvage
go
whatever he can.
salvage whatever he can with a fresh set of softs, which can be very deadly on this track, considering there are a few slow corners on this track, and the tire advantage he would have, or anyone would have on the softs versus, let's say, worn medium or hard tires, would be immense. So, but I think his best course of action right now is just to drive as he is doing and hope that there is no safety cars from here on out.
I think medium runners are slowing down Bala because VFix is not able to close the gap. He's 2.7, 2.4 from past 2-3 laps. Even Jishnu is 2.7, 2.5 from past 2-3 laps to Hushraf. So they are, I think it's running out of time for all the medium runners.
Yeah, 10 laps on those mediums, so you expect a bit of a wear on that, and I think the hard runners should have the ascendancy until the end of the race, but it's just that Husrav is kind of in a no man's land right now.
And
VFX gets a
VFix
3 second time
and
penalty,
Sume gets a time penalty.
and Sumer gets one as well. So Abhishek, just as I said, just as he asked the question whether Caesar can get his first race win of the season, and since quite some while, he's in the race winning position now because because of the time penalties for people ahead of him. So all season it should do is just stick in DRS of
VFix.
V6, and he is good to go.
Yeah, it's
I'm,
good to go.
I'm spectating Jin right now is an Alfa Romeo sandwich, and it's just not close enough to Ethan to make a mistake. But what about this? It has been a while since Caesar last won a race. I think he said it was season 7 Singapore, or was it season 9? Let me just quickly confirm that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Hushram is
season 9
losing time after
Singapore.
time.
It's very won his last race, so it hasn't been as long as I thought it would be. but it will be his first race win for Caesar. As I think you were saying, Hushrav is losing time.
Yeah, he's losing time because he
Oh,
has this
Sumay retired.
opportunity.
That's in the pits.
Sumit
That's in the
retires,
pits.
yeah, and that makes Smith to finish in points.
Yeah, Smith will finish in points, and well, there are still 4 laps to go, so you never know. Sid Venkatesh might get in the points as well. So let's
Mano,
see.
so do you think like Khusrav can finish P2? Can he close the gap to Vfix in the final couple of laps or final 3 laps?
Yeah, I think he could because of the tires he's on, and now Caesar has lost time. I think he has lost DRS as well on VFix. So
Yeah.
VFix might have just started pushing now. Caesar is running out of battery because his red light was flashing. So now it seems like the time penalty for VFix has kind of woken him up, and he has 4 laps and one sector to pull out a 3 second advantage over Mercurial Caesar. If he does that, then VFix wins the race. If he doesn't, then we'll see a very unfortunate sight of Caesar on the top step of the podium. But Ethan and Chips are battling each other, and I think Chips is gonna stay ahead for this one. Both evenly matched as far as the tire is concerned, but of course, Jin has a time penalty and Ethan doesn't. So right now it's tipped into the favor of Chips, and if you can just keep
Yes.
Jin behind for a lap or two, then that time penalty will automatically mean that Chips will finish ahead once the checkered flag falls. No matter what, we'll keep an eye out on the gap between VFix and Caesar. It's 1.3 seconds right now, but we'll also keep an eye out on Hushrav shooter because
Yes.
those hard tires will start to come in handy now. The
Not
only
yet,
thing
but
is he
he's
does not
still.
have DRS. That's the problem. He does not
Yes.
have DRS, and he'll have to rely on his own pace to kind of get past one or two cars here.
I
Once
really
checkered
think
flag
that
falls.
Hushrav has used a lot of his tires because even though he has pace, he's not having that mechanical grip to. He's losing time on every turns. He's gaining it on the straights, but he's losing time on every turn.
So Hustam is trying his best. He can see Caesar, he can see VFX, and he probably can see Redstone in the distance as well, but is just not close enough to be on the podium right now. And as it stands, Redstone will finish P4. Ethan and Jin, by the way, exchanging positions. So it's Ethan who has gotten past Jin, and once again you're seeing a hard tire runner getting the better of a medium runner now. So there are only 3 hard runners right now. That's Hushrav, Ethan, and Redstone. But Hushrav, that 2.9 second gap, it's just not coming down, is it? It's not coming down quick enough for
Correct.
Hushrav. In fact, it almost went to 3 seconds momentarily. So, well, this is a bit unexpected.
Yeah.
But VFX has, as I
Oh, he
said, two
has to
and a
lift
half.
so much. Hushrav is struggling on those hards. I had to lift so much on the SS.
Yeah, not the best of the second stints from the championship leader. As I was saying, VFX has 2.5 laps to stretch out a 1.4 second advantage over Caesar. This is gonna be tough, and I really want to see the kind of battery both of them have. I'm really inclined to do that, but I can't considering I'm the commentator. But you can surely see Caesar's red light flashing as it has been for the past
Yes.
couple of laps, and
No,
VFX
Vfix,
definitely.
Vfix is not flashing in Shrikant's word, so he definitely has more than Caesar.
Yeah, he definitely does have more than Caesar, and then is getting close now for so it's 6 tenths per lap is the advantage which VFix needs, and considering he has more battery, he's more than capable of pulling it out. He just needs to be absolutely nailing each and
It's
every
one
apex.
second now, almost 1.1.
Yeah, 1.1, so I'm 5
Vfix
to
is
6
pulling
tenths
ahead.
per lap,
Yeah,
and VFX
Vfix is
is
pulling ahead.
yeah, is Caesar might just be getting a distant toe as well. As just as I said that, VFX seemed to have a moment out of turn one, might have lost him a half a tenth. Or maybe a one full tenth there. This is tantalizingly close between P2 and P3. Redstone is doing his own thing up ahead. 3.2 seconds is the gap, but it's not gonna matter. We'll show you the leaderboard as well. And Redstone might
Redstone
just
has
finish on the
cleared.
podium. He has cleared
Yes.
Khusrav, and the gap was 5 seconds or 5.5 seconds a few laps ago. But
I am
Khusrav
seeing the
has,
leader gap. I'm seeing the leader gap.
yeah,
So
that's what
Hushrav
I'm
is
showing on the
8.1
screen
second.
as well.
Yeah.
And this is not good for Khusrav. Despite an 8-second time penalty for Redstone, Khusrav will not finish on the podium as it stands, but we'll keep an eye out on that as we want to see the gap between VFix and Caesar. And Caesar has done relatively well this lap. He's practically
Yes.
lost no time to the Williams ahead, and 1 second on the last lap seems to be a bit too much as Jin gets past Ethan here. So Jin finishing in P8 as we speak, but in fact he goes deep and Ethan takes a position back. I mean, Ethan does not have a time penalty, Jin does, so might not have mattered either way. But 2.2 seconds is the gap, and wow, last lap is on. 7 tenths is what VFX needs to pull out. This is going to be very, very close. It might seem like it's for P2, but in fact, it is for P1, considering the time penalties. And oh, there's a bit of contact between Smith and Ethan, teammates colliding. And Smith does get ahead of his teammate. It's Ethan in
Yeah.
P10, and 2.4 seconds between VFX and Caesar. They're both giving everything at it. It's increasing a little bit, so VFX seems to have turned on a different power setting on the last lap, and his
No,
red
but
light
he
is still
lost
not
it.
flashing. His red light is still not flashing. I don't know how much battery he has in his reserve, and he probably is going to deplete all of it.
Everything. Yeah, he has
And
to
now his
deplete
red light is
everything.
flashing. Redstone is comfortably ahead of Khusrav, so we really don't need to see that. And he's gonna finish first on track, but 4 tenths is what VFix needs. On the final sector, this is going to be very, very close, and I hope it's not sorted out with a mistake. I really hope no one makes a mistake out of VFX or Caesar. This is very,
Oh,
very touch and go as Redstone up is finally
in
going to
just two
come across the
corners.
line. Just one corner away now. He is going to win
On
on
track.
track the race, but VFX is going to come on P2. But it seems to be Caesar who's just about to win off. Yes, he
And
has.
Caesar wins the race.
Caesar wins the race with 3 tenths of a gap. Hushra finishes 1 second behind Redstone after all that. Jishnu and of course the Alpine boys trying to go side by side through the final corner.
They're comfortably ahead of
And
P8,
yeah, they
so
are comfortably ahead. They finished P6 and P7. Jin will lose a position to both the Alfa
Alfa
Romeos because of his
Romeos,
time
yeah.
penalty. It's Ethan in P8, Smith in P9. Jin does get 1 point, and Sid Venkatesh. Well, I did predict him to get 1 point maybe if something happens, but the drivers ahead of him were pretty clean for the most part and really did not put a foot wrong. He does finish P11, but what a race that was. 8 seconds of time penalties.
And
Really
still
didn't help
finishing in.
Redstone, but still finished on the podium. That just shows how much pace he has.
Yeah.
But here we go. It is Caesar who has finally won a race. And it's VFX and Redstone who will join him on the podium. Shooter, while we watch these images,
I'll
if we can,
invite them.
what is that celebration? That's just defying gravity here from Caesar. But
Yeah,
if we can invite him and VFX and Redstone in the party chat, we'll have a quick podium interview with them before we call it a night.
sure. That was a great drive from Caesar.
Yep, that was a great drive indeed, and wow, there was just 3 tenths in all that. So it was pretty close at the end, and maybe one more lap VFix would have had it. But Caesar did brilliantly to hang on to it, and he does get the maximum points this race weekend. So that is great as well. I guess
That is great as
28
well.
points,
28
followed
points.
by
Redstone
Redstone
and
at
Wayfair.
24, yeah, and VFX in 23, and Husta with 19 points. So it's a 5 point swing in Redstone's favor at the end of this weekend, and a 4 point. So VFX will overtake Hushrav in the Drivers' Championship, but VFX will be no, VFX in fact will not overtake Hushrav. Hushrav will still lead the championship, but of course that lead comes down. Do we have people in the party yet, or
I have added them, they haven't joined yet.
okay? Let me just quickly tag them as well so we can have them join pretty soon. So Redstone has
Redstone is there.
joined.
Hey,
Sorry about
Redstone.
that, lads. What's up?
Redstone is here, so might as well start with him, considering he did finish on the podium and is in P3. Redstone, first of all, what a drive, especially in the sprint race, and I mean, to be honest, in the main race as well. But what happened on that pit entry? How did you manage to get that 5 second? Were you just a little careless there, or were you distracted by something else?
Firstly, congrats to Caesar. It's really, really nice to see him win again. Very happy for him. And congrats to VFix as well on the podium. Yeah, I mean, like sprint race, it was okay. But coming back to your question, I was crawling into the pits, but I forgot to fucking turn on the pit limiter because I mapped it to a different button this time around. Yeah, stupid mistake. But regardless, other than that, it was what it was. At least finished like crossed the line P1. So very happy with my pace overall.
Yeah, you did have brilliant pace, and once Sumer and Hushrav were battling each other in the sprint race, you did manage to kind of run away with that one. And without the safety car, I think you might have had a chance to win this one as well, despite the 3 second time penalty. Just talk us through your incident with VFix on lap one of the sprint race. Of course, we'll take his views on the incident as well. But it seemed like you did have your tires banging each other in the SS section.
Yeah, so as far I haven't seen the replay yet, but as far as I'm aware, we I gave him space like going into the first two sections. We were side by side, and since it was a right kink and I was ahead, and I try to give as much room on the outside as humanly possible. And like if one of us don't back out there, then contact is inevitable, I guess. But that's okay. That's to deal with later in this tour. So looking forward to that report and looking forward to give a
All
give
right.
a good fitting reply. Yeah.
Shooter, any questions for Redstone before we move on?
Yeah, no, no, as of such. Very nice drive. I saw your quali time, and it was like a class apart on Texas, and really good, like really strong performance in sprint and hard luck, Redstone. Hard luck for getting the penalties there. Just one question I had. I think you got one of the warning in lap one, turn one, I guess. So you went wide. That's what I thought in my history. So
I did
like,
go wide trying to accommodate, and I did get a warning there, but it's okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to like apply for a removal of that and all of that. The most important thing for me is to know that the pace is there. Pace is there to like pull away, and despite him being on VFix being on mediums and Caesar being on mediums, I did make a substantial gap on those hards. So, and they weren't really making too many inroads as well. So that's the most important thing to me. As far as I'm concerned, as long as I know that I have the pace, I'll come back. A few points here and there isn't going to phase me too much.
Still, Redstone, like having 8 seconds of penalty and still finishing on podium, it's like highly appreciated. And congratulations and hard luck also both the time. So
Thank you, boys. Thank you, Sai. Thank you so much.
Yep, very strong pace indeed, Redstone, and it's frightening to see what you can do when you don't have time penalties. So, thank God you did get a few on your way to the podium. But
You want to
coming
make
to
things a little interesting for the others. So,
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
joking.
Maybe
I'm joking.
maybe start from the back next time,
Yeah,
just so
I'll
that you
think
can
about it. I'll pull in
see
a
and over.
zoom.
Yeah, see and over. No, no. I don't think he's as fast as you. He doesn't win races when he's starting from the back. But either ways, on to VFix now. Our man in P2 and a man who did start on the front row in the sprint race. But VFix, take us through that incident on lap one of the sprint race, and then having to battle a few other cars before you could finally see the that podium in front of you.
Yeah, honestly, I'm very disappointed in myself for getting that 3 seconds because I can't remember the last time I got it. And I was just driving for the sprint. I mean, the the similar incidents or have gotten the lead driver penalized for having red proximity arrows. So you just have to go for it because um you never know what can happen. That's the sort of racing that the stewards are promoting right now in the league. So that's it's just a bit of contact, but contact is inevitable. It's a contact sport, as a great man. I mean, not a great man says, but yeah. So, I had to go for that. Honestly, I didn't even lose that much time in that. I lost more time when coming back onto the track because I didn't had to. I got like slightly unsettled by hitting the Hushrov's front left tire. So the collision with Redstone was, I wouldn't even call it a collision. It was just a coming together that didn't even cost me a position. The one after, like 5 seconds later, put me all the way back down to P8. So after that, I just had to recover. And the fact that we were like P4 and just like not that far behind Hushrav and Sumer, at least in the sprint, that gave me a bit of confidence in the main race. But then in the main race, I don't know what the Aston Martin tried to do at the race start. I genuinely did not see him at all in my mirror. And then at turn one, he just went. I think he went from P8 to P4 at turn one. So the where he broke, I don't know. But I didn't want to break my wing there. So then we got demoted all the way back to seventh again. So we, so we had to do the same fight back there. And when you're fighting in the pack and you're faster, you have to take more risk in order to make the moves so you can be in clean air. And then a safety car came out. Uh, Honestly, I wish that the safety car didn't come out because seeing the pace difference between me and Husha would have caught him anyway. Considering he didn't even gain on me in a hard tire stint, and our mediums were going off at the end. Um, but yeah, I was driving very conservatively in that medium stint because I was like, Khushro's gonna come back at me, like towards the end of this race, and then like got the 3 seconds. So then I had to push for the last like 5 laps. I just wish I'd started pushing like a lap or two earlier because I think we could have pulled out the 3 seconds then. But I mean, congrats to Caesar. He kept it clean in this one, and yeah, that's all there is to it.
The supreme leader's back.
Yes.
Good
Yep.
stuff.
Shooter, anything about VFX before we move on?
no, no, no. It was a good drive. Hard means again we fixed like I think in the mode of pushing and catching redstone, you got the 3 second penalty I guess, and that was very means.
No, not for. I was actually driving like really conservatively when I got the 3 seconds, so I wasn't like risking it all. So when that happens, like your margins get like a bit messed up, and that's what happened on the inside turn of that corner because I undershot the entry. So
Oh.
if I'd just been pushing from the beginning of the medium stint, of course my tires wouldn't have made it then. So like it's a fine balance.
But really, it's really good to see that you managed on medium so well. You were not losing that much pace to anyone behind you and in front of you. So, good P2, I'll say.
Yeah.
Yep, that
Congratulations.
pace on the mediums in the second stint,
Thanks, guys.
considering there were doubts that you would make it or those tires will make it, was quite impressive. But either way, it's a strong finish from you, VFX, and yes, you are right.
Yeah, also the
F1 is
game
a contact
almost
sport. So,
desynced me for like 10 seconds, and I couldn't see like who's retiring or not because it kept saying migrating host on the bottom for the last 15 laps. So, Codemasters,
oh
geniuses.
yeah, I think Shooter probably saw a similar message on his screen as well. So yeah, well, it's Codemasters. Whatever to do about it. But yeah, your loss is Caesar's gain, and Caesar's gain is my loss. It's hate. But here we go to Caesar. It's been a while, Caesar, since season 9 Singapore, but finally that win has arrived. And take us through your race. Your start was amazing once again from P6 to P4 or P3, maybe, I'm not sure. You did have a couple of cars behind you by the time you reached turn one. But overall, how was your pace, and especially the last stint once you knew that the race win was in sight once we got that 3 second time penalty?
That was the longest question I've ever heard. But thank you. Finally, good to be. It's been a long time since I tasted victory, but nevertheless, yeah, pretty happy. Pretty happy with the results, considering the fact that the pace that I have these days and zero practice coming into the race. Just loaded up a from time trial and just jumped in straight right in. But yeah, I mean, look, right from the initial days, quali hasn't been my strongest forte. I think stats do show that, but it's the race pace where I feel more confident about my driving. So yeah, it was all right. I kind of made a hash of my quali when I came out of the pits without changing the tires. So basically, my last run was on the used tires. So that kind of messed up, and obviously I expected after that for my race to go downhill, but things turned around, and yeah, here we are. But obviously, look, pace wise, I'm nowhere close to Redstone or VFX here. But it was all about keeping up with these guys, and once VFX was out of the DRS, I was kind of giving it all, just to stay within those 3 seconds. In fact, I didn't even realize it was Hushraf that kind of pointed out that he has a 3 second, and that's when mistakes started to happen, and he was able to get out of the DRS. But then, thankfully, unfortunately, obviously for V6, the laps ran out, and yeah, I was able to keep it clean and take that top step away from both of them.
Yep, good drive indeed, and hopefully we do
I
see
think we
you
literally shut him up. Like, I don't
on
know what
the
that
top
was.
step of the podium uh, in the coming races while whatever's left of the season. But Shooter, anything for Caesar before we
No, no,
do a
he
first?
actually summed up pretty well, and congratulations, Caesar. I came to know that you have got the win after season 9 Singapore. So congratulations on that.
251 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
251.
And one more interesting fact, 69% of 2023 has gone, and I got a win.
Wow.
See, now, ladies and gentlemen, is why you
That's the
understand why
stat you want
people
to hear
hate
about.
Caesar. Because I think,
I
and they
bring
are
out the
right
stats. I'm the
in
stat man,
doing so.
so I'll get you the stats.
I shudder to
So
think what
pretty
will
good week
happen.
of 2023 to bring the win back on.
Right. So with that very very random and useless fact, I have one man to thank to keep this race interesting. And
Thank you, man.
I'm
with
playing that
that,
in public.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just one of my favorite audio clips I've come
Yes.
across this season, or rather this year. 69% of which has already passed. But yeah, with that being said, congratulations once again. I think
There you
Redstone
go.
has left, but to VFix and Caesar. And we'll see you next
GG
weekend.
everyone.
Yeah, I keep forgetting which race it is. It's not Brazil,
Austria.
it's Austria.
It's
Yes, it's
Austria,
Austria,
Austria.
which is Caesar's
Austria.
favorite track for I don't know what reason. But it's one of the worst tracks I've come across. It's not
This
even
is
a
the
track,
best
it's like
track.
a square.
It's the best track
But
ever. It's the
it's,
best track ever.
it is one
Best
of
track
I'm
the
to
not saying
announce
that
the
because I
first
worst
won the
entry.
tracks.
last four of them, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
clearly
take
not.
Rata cover.
Clearly you aren't biased. But I think Caesar might have just. I think both of you were tied on points, and now Caesar has one more win than you. I'm not sure
I
if
actually
that's
don't know
true.
what the points table is, and
No, not the points table. I
the
meant the
stewards
total
decide
wins.
whatever
In
whatever it is in.
I wish we had edit access to that stats sheet. Then we could have just made
Yeah, he does have one more than me now.
whatever.
That's actually the more annoying part. Now I'll have to win two races with
Yeah,
freaking
we'll
Redstone in
ensure that
his
happens.
insane
Or
pace.
someone can report him and we can disqualify him. But either ways, it's been a very long podium interview, and Chips is saying well done to all three podium sitters. We'll see you next time in Austria, where hopefully a late safety car can ruin Caesar's race winning chances. And until then, goodbye, good night, and
Not the
take
first
care.
time at Austria.
And not the first time in Austria.